Hello and welcome to Quick Learn Photography, straight to the point videos where I teach you everything that I've learned in over the last 10 years of photography. I'm James, and in this one we're going to learn about editing, and I'm going to use Lightroom, and by the end of this video you'll know the basics of how to get started and how to use it. So this isn't going to be a full detailed, the real detailed stuff of Lightroom. What this is an overview of editing. I'm going to use Lightroom, but most editing softwares, even on your phone, even Instagram has an editing tool where all the variables are more or less the same, like exposure, shadows, contrast, that sort of thing. So I'm just going to show you basic editing to get you started, and I'm going to use Lightroom. So it'll be from a raw file to Lightroom, and I'll show you how to get started, how to load an image, how to edit, how to export it, how to downsize it, all kinds of different things. I'll just show you a brief overview of how to edit. Now, it's good to edit sometimes, especially if you photograph raw. So look at my previous video if you don't know what raw files are, where you can get the best out of your images, but you will more than likely have to edit because raw files can be a little bit flat and muted compared to a JPEG image, which is a little bit bumped and processed by the camera, which is what your mobile phone will do. Really vibrant colors and all sorts of stuff. But if you want complete control of editing, then I'm going to show you how to edit. So you need a laptop, you need a computer, laptop, and something with a bit of oomph as well, a little bit of power. Like Macs are really good. This is just an M1 computer. I do most of my stuff on this. I've got a desktop as well, but it's older. This is much faster. You want something with reasonable power. I'll get into that into more detail later. So I would recommend getting something with 16 gig RAM if you're going to be editing raw files from a camera. That way it's not going to struggle loading the next image or processing a certain image. Otherwise you'll get that spinning wheel and that lag and everything. So editing is really important, and that's how you'll get the best out of your images. So if you're going to shoot as a hobby or for social media, or you want to start making money with photography, then you need to learn how to edit. So hopefully if you started with this course at the beginning, you're really learning how to use your camera now and all the different bits and bobs. There's still way more that I'm going to do. It's just going to keep going, get more and more technical. But I think we're at the point now where if you've got to grips with everything that I've shown you before, then you really need to learn how to do a basic edit on a computer. So that's what I'm going to do with this video, a basic edit from start to finish, or edits, and show you how I use Lightroom as a quick overview. Later on down the line, I'll do some more detailed stuff on Lightroom and Photoshop, the two editing software tools that I use, but we'll just keep it simple now. And if you're not sure why raw files are so good, then watch that video. But let's get into some editing, and I'll show you a basic overview of editing. Okay, so here we go. I've put a memory card in. It's this one there. So let's click on that, and I've taken some random pictures. So what I'm going to do is highlight them all. Right click, open with, and you can open it with whatever software you've got. I'm going to use Lightroom. There's Photoshop there as well, but I'm going to choose Lightroom. This is on a Mac, by the way, but it's all pretty generic. So the photos go into like a grid view, so you can see what you're going to get. You can click on it and it goes bigger. These are just some ones I've taken outside quick. And what you can do is, if I go back to the grid view, it naturally selects all of them, but say you've got hundreds of photos or lots and lots, so you only want to pick a few. So you just, oh, that one or that one. Or you can open them up and go to this little arrow down here like this and pick the ones you want. But let's pick all of them. And what I'm going to do is a very basic edit. So once they're in like the viewing mode, you go to import. And now they're going to import into the library module, which is here. It's kind of like a catalog, okay? So this is just going to be a real basic edit. There's loads more to Lightroom, all weird and wonderful things you can do, but we're going to keep it simple and just show some basic edits, okay, from raw files. And hopefully you know what raw files are. So once they're in, you can eject the card if you want. So here they are in the library. If you press the plus and minus on the keyboard, you can make the images bigger to sort of view them better. or you can make them really small if you want to do lots and lots of things. So let's just get straight to it. So here's the images. I've deliberately underexposed some of them and picked certain things. They're very boring, I'm sorry, it's not very exciting, but just let's get on with some edits. So you go to the develop module or press D on the keyboard on a Mac. So here's one other pigeon I saw. So I took it. So it's gone to Adobe Color, but what I'm going to do is go to standard. There you go. Close. Right, so it's a little bit dull and muted here, and here's the develop module where you do all the editing. You've got all these sort of things in your mobile phone, like exposure, contrast, highlight, shadows, white balance as well. These are the key ones, and then there's some more ones that can enhance the image a bit more, and then lots and lots of stuff down here which we'll get onto a bit later. But let's keep it simple. So all of this you can do on your mobile phone. So what I'm going to do is just you click and hold, or you can use the arrow buttons up and down and raise the exposure a bit. Lovely. I like to add a little bit of contrast. Let's say about 20%. I like to drop the highlights. I'm going to use the arrows up and down now. Drop the highlights down a bit. Raise the shadows just a bit. Highlights down again. And the blacks down just a little bit. So I'm happy with that. What I like to do as well is a little bit of a vignette sometimes. If you watch the edges, it just pulls you in a little bit. You can go crazy with it, but it looks ridiculous. But let's just keep it like that. It just draws you into the image again. So let's keep it simple. Now, white balance, remember that? So you can warm the image up or cool the image down, whatever you want. If you click on whatever you've just used, so I'm going to click on temperature, and it goes back to how it came in on the camera. So if I go to, say, shadows, and I think, oh, that's a bit too washed out. If I click on shadows, it goes back to the middle again, okay? So just to enhance that again, let's go to, say, contrast. It's too contrasty there, I don't like it. Let's go back to the middle, and it goes to the middle section. Then you can adjust it again accordingly, okay? So let's just brighten it up a little bit. I'm happy with that. Let's go to the next image. So it's a bit dull and a bit of a high contrast scene. I can adjust all of these if I want, or if I like the previous edit, if I press previous, it goes to what I did before. I kind of like that. So you can raise the shadows even more if you want. You can tweak it a bit, drop the highlights a bit more. But I kind of like what it's done for that. If you want to make it black and white, you can hit B and W there, or press V on the keyboard, and it goes black and white. So let's go to the next one. So there's a very, very high contrast scene here. Let's raise the shadows. I'm just going to show you quick edits. Now I've got presets for my edits, but I'm not going to get too technical. I'm just going to give it a quick bump, drop the highlights a bit so we've got a lot of detail in the sky, raise the shadows down below, see the trees and everything. Let's drop the blacks a little bit to give it a bit of definition, and let's raise the exposure up a little bit more. Let's add a vignette right at the bottom, just a little bit. There you go, a little bit better. Now on this one would be a good example to show what dehaze is, okay? So it just adds a bit of drama into the sky, or just adds a bit of drama. If you go too mad, it looks ridiculous, but just sometimes a little bump of dehaze can add a bit of drama, especially if it's sort of misty and washed out, okay? But we'll put that back to normal. So let's go to the next one. So that's quite nice because it's bright and sunny. So let's just brighten it up a bit. It's looking a bit washed out, bit of contrast, drop the highlights, same sort of thing again. Now I've got a preset for this where I just hit it, and all the images that I've selected on the library module will be the same. So this is fine. A quick tool, which I'll get into later, is the spot tool or the clone tool. You can adjust the size of that, see the circle there, and the outer rim with the feather. I'm not going to get too detailed on this, but what you can do is just brush over something and it will select something to cover it over, and you can move that over like that accordingly, or you can put the diggers there or whatever. You can swap heads around, or if you don't like what you've done, just reset it, sorry, and close that down. I'll get more into all these weird and wonderful tools and what you can do later on, because it is really, really good. But this is just quick edits. So here's quite a colourful scene. Let's go to previous. So the previous edit again. There it is, lovely. It's just bumped that a bit. It's retained the whites there. Let's look at that chair, the white chair down in our garden. You can really drop the highlights down to get the details in. When it comes to lots of colour, vibrance is good down here. You can really punch the colours, but you don't want to go too mad. Or you can select a colour. So just a quick overview of the colour panel. We're on saturation here. So if we select red for this bush here, you can either make it less red, so it's only targeting anything red, or more red. So same with green as a dominant colour, you can make it less green or more green. So it's only going to target that colour. So if you notice there's nothing blue in the image, if I slide the blue around, not a lot happens because there's no blue. So that's a handy little thing as well. Let's go to the next one, a very underexposed image. Let's raise the shadows, brighten it up, drop the highlights, add a vignette. It's looking a little bit better now, a bit more scenic. Let's add some darker tones and raise that up a bit. Let's make it really cool with the white balance, as in cool in colour and tone. There it is. It's starting to look a little bit more moody now. It's personal preference. If you hit V, it goes to black and white. I like the black and white. So there's your edits. Now, one thing as well, which is quite handy, let's go back to the pigeon on the develop module. You can crop as well. So if you hit this tool here, or you can hit R on the keyboard, you can crop the image as well, which is quite a handy tool to have. You can zoom in as well. He's a very angry looking pigeon, but you can crop the image. If you're not sure about your crop, you can reset it. And if you unlock this, you can crop it to how you want. So say you want more of a portrait mode, like this, or a little square, like that. And then close that down, and you've cropped it to the dimensions you want. God, he looks evil, that pigeon, doesn't he? Look at him. I think that must be a half blank. There's one evil looking pigeon. But again, if you're not sure, press reset. Great. Now, another thing with when you go on the crop thing as well, you can straighten, say the horizon's really wonky, you can straighten things like that as well. So you see the slider there? That's great. So you can do all that too. So another thing, if you press Y on the keyboard, it will show you the before and the after, so you can compare what you've done with the edit. So that's untouched. So that's a handy little tool. So I think a good one for that will be, where's the dark one? This one here. So if we go to, that's in the library, go to develop. If we press Y, it shows you the before and the after. So it's a little handy tool. Okay, so we've done our edits here. You can view them here and you think, yep, I'm happy with those. I want those. You can rate them if you want. You can add stars, 2 stars, 3 stars, whatever. You can also add a color. So you could batch a load, say red, or if you wanted all of them red, let's do that. Or let's make them all blue. There you go. That way, when you go to categories, which is this thing here, you can select certain ones. So this is if you've got lots and lots of photos and you just want to categorize them. Right, so you've done your edits, you're happy with them. Let's export them all now. So I've highlighted them all. Double click, go to export. And I'm going to put it in a folder, which is a hard drive, a WD5. You can choose whatever folder you like on your own computer or on an external source. Going to change the name to edited examples. So then each file will be named that with a number afterwards. It's in JPEG. Now this is interesting. If I click that off, it will go to quite a large JPEG. Now the files from this camera are like 60 to 70 megabytes. You don't want that, but even the JPEGs are going to be massive, well over 10 megabytes, okay? So I've already done all the edits. I've taken the data out that I need. I don't need to do any more. I downscale it to 2000. You can make that what you like. I like 2000, so they're nice small files. But the resolution is still the same. Again, you can resize the resolution if you want to something very, very specific by putting the measurements in there. I don't do that because if you want to print or crop, that's fine. So that's it. So we've chosen where to put it. We've named the files and we've downsized the image data, not the resolution. So it's personal preference what you want to do. So now you hit export, you'll see a bar up here and it's exporting to the file that you have chosen. These are big files here, so it's taken a while. So bear that in mind if you've got lots and lots of, oh, that's done, that's brilliant. So that's a very, very basic edit, and I'm going to get into more detailed stuff with what you can do in Lightroom on future videos. Okay, so I hope that helped. Give it a go. Just start editing and playing around with it. Even on your, if you don't want to get Lightroom, you can get free software that will manage RAW files or even just your JPEGs, whatever. You can get free software, but Lightroom's a good one. Photoshop, Capture One, those sort of things. I use Lightroom. But if you don't want to step up to that just yet, if you don't want to start buying more expensive computers and things like that, then practice on your phone. Every phone has editing software. A really good one I use on phones is Snapseed. That's fantastic to learn how to edit, and I'm going to do some tutorials on that later on down the line with phone photography. But yeah, you've seen the general variables on editing, so give it a go, practice, and then you'll get the best out of your images. So I hope that helped with just a basic how to use Lightroom editing.